Hello and welcome to Sci-Fi-Night. I'm your host, Sebastian Vendel Martinez, and this is the show where we take a look at some of the lesser-known sci-fi and horror movies out there and try to find the right expectations needed to get the most out of them. So, in tonight's episode, we're taking a look at an underwater sci-fi film with Samuel L. Motherfucking Jackson. Sphere is a 1998 sci-fi film based on a book by Michael Crichton, the author of Jurassic Park, and also The Relic, a movie whose adaptation we've already checked out on this show. The film is directed by Barry Levinson, who hasn't really directed any sci-fi horror since or before Sphere. The film features tons of well-known stars such as Dustin Hoffman, Sharon Stone, Liev Schreiber, Queen Latifah, and of course Samuel L. Jackson. Now that I think about it, Samuel L. Jackson also played a role in Jurassic Park, which was also based on a Michael Crichton book. Pretty interesting coincidence there. The film follows a psychiatrist played by Dustin Hoffman who gets brought out to the middle of the ocean under the pretense of there being a plane crash in which he is supposed to counsel the survivors.
All that for a plane crash? I never mentioned a plane crash.
Upon arriving at the supposed crash site, Hoffman gets informed that the plane crash is a cover-up for something much more outlandish.
What did I tell him? I told him I was here to see the plane crash. That's my job.
Plane crash. Good.
There was no plane crash.
Spacecraft.
Deep-sea divers have discovered a mile-long wreck at the bottom of the ocean which no military force can lay claim to, implying that this may very well be some kind of alien ship.
Don't mind telling you this thing scares the hell out of me.
Along with a team of scientists, they embark on an expedition
Under the sea,
to find out what the ship is and how it got there. They eventually get into the ship, and while exploring it, they discover a huge golden sphere. After that, some strange things start happening. So it's kind of hard to go into the plot without major spoilers, but basically, they realize some unexpected things about the ship.
Well, I thought you said this thing wasn't damaged when it crashed, and that this titanium alloy was so super strong there's no way you could hurt it.
I did.
So how come it chips when this scientist just bangs on it with a hammer?
Oh, no, that's not what I'm talking about. What worries me is that it's reflecting everything but us. I hate to be the one non-scientist that picks this up, guys.
They also start encountering deadly yet familiar forces at the ocean depths. Unlike other underwater sci-fi films like Leviathan or Deep Star 6, this isn't some kind of cheesy, overdone monster fest. This is a film that engages you into the plot and story. Those of you who are longtime viewers know that I'm a sucker for a good and interesting build-up, and boy does this film have that in spades. Most people are in agreement in that the first half works very well, moves along at a good pace, and lets the story unfold in an interesting way. However, I want to go out for now and say that I haven't actually read the book, which, as I understand, is actually kind of different from the film adaptation, which pissed off a lot of book readers. Another aspect that was changed from the book is the giant squid that appears.
Hey guys, I'm getting a reading on the sonar. You're not alone out there.
In the book there were several encounters with this gigantic monster, but it was all more or less done off-screen for the film due to budget constraints. I can understand them not showing too much of it, as including would have put the film way over budget, but it's a shame that such a big and cool part of the book was pretty much left out. If you're interested in more similarities and differences between the book and the film, I highly recommend Crimson Rogue's channel, The Book Was Better. Just be sure to tell him that I sent you. Dustin Hoffman has gone on record to say he was disappointed with the film, and also it was a box office bomb that failed to make back even half of its budget. This is a real shame because the effects are very well handled, the story, even if it doesn't fulfill its potential, is super interesting as well, and of course it's incredibly well acted. With veteran actors, you know that they're at least delivering the dialogue in a good way, and it's hard not to get engaged in the plot.
When Pope Benedict asked Giotto for a drawing to prove his worth as an artist, Giotto drew a perfect circle. Freehand. Perfection is a powerful message.
So, what should you expect from this movie? Great talent. Obviously, the actors do a great job in this film. They carry the dialogue and scenes very well, and the film itself is very well shot and directed and has the feel of a big budget Hollywood blockbuster, even if it didn't really get the reception of one of those kinds of films. This is a shame because any way you cut it, this is at the end a well-made film. Sure, the editing, writing, and production all have issues, but this film is blessed by a talented cast and crew that make the film way more enjoyable than it otherwise would have been. Awesome atmosphere. Now, in all fairness, most of the awesome atmosphere is felt in the first half of the film, but I still think the feeling of isolation and wonder holds up pretty well throughout. There is a constant contrast between the horrors of the ocean, but also its beauty and wonder.
Oh man, this is really beautiful.
Oh, and by the way, there is an amazing score by Elliot Goldenthal, who's done the music for films like Alien 3, Interview with a Vampire, and Heat. I mean, come on, just listen to this theme. Basically, the film is filled with just the right vibes.
Anybody else wonder who the hell opened that door?
Strong start, weak finish. Much like Event Horizon and Phantoms, this film just doesn't deliver the last act that really satisfies. With the nature of a sphere being very metaphysical, I understand that it's hard to really put the abstract themes of a book into the film medium. But a lot of people complain about the ending and the second half, and I can't really say that I blame them. So, since I usually try to avoid spoilers, I'm not really going to go into why the second half isn't as good as the first, but to sum it up, it's more or less because what's built up doesn't really pay off in the way that you'd like it to, and also there are a couple stupid and illogical decisions. Still though, overall, I really like this movie. I'd say this film is very well made and overall underrated. I'd still recommend this film for sci-fi fans because there are tons of interesting concepts and ideas.
How can there be anything inside it? There's no door, no seams.
The sphere chooses what it will and won't reflect. Doesn't that seem like the actions of a conscious being to you?
The actors all do a great job, the soundtrack is amazing, and the film is well shot. If you like underwater sci-fi horror, then this is a must. Or if you like seeing Samuel L. Jackson in a more restrained role, but don't want to sit through the Star Wars prequels, then this is definitely for you. Because unfortunately, there's not a single motherfucker uttered from the man.
Bad motherfucker.
I'm a mushroom cloud laying motherfucker.
It's a film with its fair share of flaws, especially in the second half, but if you can be forgiving, you'll have a damn good time. So that about does it for this episode of Sci-Fi-Night. We hope you enjoyed it, especially you, Fedora from Overhorror, because we know you've been requesting this review for a while. So be sure to leave us some comments below letting us know what you thought of this film, this episode, and what kind of movies you want to see brought up here in the future. As always, I'm your host, Sebastian Vendel Martinez, and we'll catch you guys next time.
What the hell? Bad motherfucker.